Up next, we have GBM Resources. Peter Rohner is the CEO and MD, Managing Director, but the ASX code, ladies and gentlemen, is GBZ, not GBM, GBZ. And they've done an acquisition of the Twin Hills project. So I'm really excited to hear the updates, Peter. Welcome to the Virtual Gold Conference. Over to you.
Yeah, thanks, Kerry. And well, it's great to be back giving everyone a bit of an update on progress over the last sort of 3 or 4 months. Cover the important stuff, but you can read that in our release. Look, really want to talk about, what GBM is all about. And we've, in the last 2 years, tried to refine our focus on the Drummond Basin and make sure our other peripheral assets are either funded, by other parties or disposed of. So what are we about? We're about the Drummond Basin. We've assembled, a really strong land package there that's extremely prospective. It's the first time the basin's been consolidated to this extent, in one company. So we're excited about those acquisitions that led to that consolidation, which was Yandan and Twin Hills, which we'll talk about. We've got a resource base now in JORC of 1.6 million ounces with more to come. And we'll talk about sort of plans there in terms of mineral resource estimate upgrades. But really, it's, the basin is very prospective. It's got a great endowment, and it's certainly one of the underexplored areas in the world, and probably certainly in Queensland.
Yeah, Peter, just a quick question on that. Why are you so keen on the Drummond Basin? Is it because it's underexplored? What's the reason?
Yeah, look, it's as we discussed in, when we first got involved in late 2019 and early 2020, it's sort of been in a time capsule for about 20 years, with all the sort of corporate machinations and companies getting taken over, from North Queensland Metals to Evolution to Minjar taking over Pajingo. Not a lot of focus has been on the basin, and Peter Mullins and Steve Nano came back from South America and really saw the progress that was made in the Santa Cruz province, where multi-million ounce deposits were found over the last 20 years in the same sort of epithermal sort of setting. So that's the main reason. Not a lot of exploration over the last 20 years because of fragmented ownership, and we've just got to get on with systematically exploring the tenements and the prospects we've got. And we're confident we'll expand the resource to, well beyond 2 million ounces and obviously targeting 3 million ounces. So we've got a pretty big spend plan for the next 12 months of $7.5 million on exploration in the basin. And, really it's about exploring in and around the existing resources to expand those, but also a number of prospects that, either don't have JORC, currently have resources, but are not JORC, and bring those up into JORC category. But really also looking for those, significant bonanza vein projects, which you'll see later in the presentation, some of the examples. In terms of cash flow, White Dam's ticking along, generating good cash for GBM. Obviously, we've got a resource there that we're evaluating how we extend that life, but we're also evaluating options to move that asset on over time, and bring that capital back onto our balance sheet for the Drummond Basin. And then we've got a range of other exploration projects in Cloncurry in Victoria that obviously are funded by our strong JV partners. So good spend on the ground on our projects, but other people spending, over $3 million on a couple of projects in Queensland and Victoria. 2020 and 2021, a lot of progress made. As you can see on the chart on the right-hand side there, consolidation of other resources of Yandan and Twin Hills, along with our Mount Coolon resource, has now given us a strong resource base to build on, and obviously that base starting to give us traction into development options and looking at how we might move the projects forward. Malmsbury, as we'll talk about, Queensland copper gold exploration we'll talk about. We've had significant shareholder growth since 2019, and we've done a reasonable job, as we said we would, to dispose of some of the non-core assets and liberate cash and/or shares that we can liquidate to fund Drummond Basin. So really the plans for 2022, it's all about the Drummond Basin. It's about expanding the resource drilling to expand resources. As you'll see in the previous chart, there's a significant amount of inferred resources in the resource inventory. So some of the drilling and resource estimation work that will happen over the next 6 months is about upgrading those categories, and then finding new areas and new deposits to add to our portfolio. Separately, we've done a lot of work in 2021 on Yandan and the Glen trend. We've got targets there that we understand. We'll put out news flow on those over the next month, really about where to next on those projects in terms of finding those additional ounces. And then because of the huge regional sort of tenement package we've got, it's really about prioritising, ranking those projects and prospects that we've got, which we've got too many of. We've got so many, we just don't know where to start. So it's really about focusing outside of those three core areas and saying, well, which of these projects need to be advanced. And look, as an aside, because of the big package, we are looking at other options of how we accelerate exploration in the basin. And that might involve, partnerships with other groups, because we just can't do it all ourselves.
Yeah.
And then on the development side, it's really about upgrading the resources. And now with Tom Cooney joining last year, a mining engineer with a strong project development, operational background, it's about taking those strong resources at Twin Hills and starting to really evaluate, development scenarios, open pit optimizations, underground production scenarios, and start to advance those, because they also feed into the drilling programs to focus.
Peter, I don't know whether you go into this in more detail later, but the Twin Hills acquisition, do you explain a bit more about that and why that was important?
Yeah, I'll cover it later. Probably,
okay.
Yeah. And then the other focuses for 2022 is White Dam, maximise cash flow and the value add through the resource upgrades, and then examine sale options. We've had a number of approaches, so we'll explore those. And we've talked about Malmsbury and Cloncurry. We've got strong funding, exploration activities funded by others, and a couple of other non-core assets, Mayfield, that we'll deal with in 20. Look, strong resource base, obviously a stronger $8 gold price, so we've got strong leverage to the $8 gold price, and that's obviously in the short term also helping our cash flow at White Dam. The much stronger gold price is allowing us to maintain our cash flow at that operation. Just a little bit about the people. Most people know Peter Mullins and Stephen Nano, so they're obviously the geological brains of GBM and the strong epithermal sort of background. I'm a metallurgist and drive the business and manage the sort of acquisitions and business development activities. And we brought on Tom Cooney late last year to really help, because the portfolio was getting a bit big and the operational activities, to really help with the operational management issues and now start to really advance the resource projects we have up into scoping studies and ultimately pre-feasibility study. Market cap, cash, we've got a strong cash and marketable securities balance. We obviously are looking at other asset disposals to fund the exploration activities in 2022. And look, we've still got some supportive shareholders in North America and Aeris on our register from last year. So look, talking really about the Drummond Basin, big increase in resource base with the Twin Hills acquisition, and really the acquisition, transforms GBM in terms of it's a quality project. It's got quality ounces, both in a large open pit resources at 309. There is an open pit resource at Lone Sister that we need to evaluate further with drilling in this current program, and some good underground resources. But both projects are really open at depth and down plunge on some of these structures, which I'll show in some following slides. So just where are these projects and how they all fit together? We've got sort of Yandan as nominally a processing hub, although with the Twin Hills acquisition, that project really could be a standalone mine. We've got a 700,000 ounce resource base there now, 760,000 ounce. We're confident that'll grow, continue to grow, so it may end up being a standalone operation. However, there's options there to still do processing at Yandan if flotation works at the Twin Hills operation. So there's still optionality there. But really, we've got a big land package, lots of epithermal targets, and we've completed a regional drill program in 2021 of about 12,000 metres. We've got plans for well over 20,000 metres this calendar year. We expect the drilling to start in January, late January. We're expecting to start drilling, but it looks like it'll be early February now. We've had a few delays with rain and setting up the camp and getting everything sorted out with the drill pads, but we're almost ready to go. So why are we excited about Twin Hills? Look, it's really about the resource and the grades of both these deposits. I mean, some seriously high grade intercepts. There's a lot of lower grade mineralisation there, but there's some really high grade zones that obviously bring the average grade up. Tight little projects in the Sprecher system, down depth, very little drilling below 350 metres, some good hits down there, but not much follow-up drilling, and then down plunge on both of these to the northwest along this sort of structure that goes sort of southeast northwest. A lot of potential, so really excited about the resource growth potential of both these deposits. This just quickly shows some of these, high-grade intercepts, like some, really large zones, and you can see also that the drilling's sort of below about 250 to 350. There's very little drilling, so that's where the targets are. And this is Lone Sister, which you can see in the presentation once we release it as well. Great intercepts. Lone Sister, the interesting thing at Lone Sister is probably the shallower mineralisation that's not in the resource at the moment, so we'll also be targeting that to hopefully identify some open pittable resources on the Lone Sister deposit. Yandan, we did the drilling program last year. That's all sort of been released, some good intersections, and really both Yandan and the Mount Coolon district. We're about to put some releases out on the final results of Mount Coolon drilling around the Glen trend, and really our thinking about where to next on Mount Coolon, and also the Yandan sort of, I suppose, deposit model, and where we think the targets are for 2022 in terms of drilling those prospects.
2 minutes.
Yeah, so as I said, we did late last year. We drilled this Glen Eastern Silicious Zone trend. We've got some preliminary results released to the market. The remaining results are just coming in. We'll release shortly. We certainly like this trend, and it's going to take a little bit of work to I suppose find the juicy bits. Certainly around Glen we extended the vein system several hundred metres north and south of the old pit, but we haven't found the high grade zones yet, and that'll be the focus of 2022. Just quickly on Malmsbury, great JV partner with Novo Resources Corp. They put out some webinar last week and a press release. We started drilling in early December. We're on to finished hole 3 just now. We've got 609 metres completed, with assays sort of starting to come through over the next 2 or 3 weeks. So we're excited about that program finally getting into drilling mode. We've got some really good geology that's been reported, gravity survey, and really excited about this drill program and what it might uncover. White Dam, as I said, we acquired 100% of it in July, generating good cash, stable operation, stable cash flow. It will decline over time as the heat starts to decline, but it's really about finalising the resource upgrades, start to advance the mining options and value-adding options, and take that resource forward, and look at whether we sell the project or joint venture it with a strong partner. So the upside here is really the resources. The 100,000 ounce resource is still there, with a plant hungry for feed.
Right.
So really, quick summary. We've got a strong board and management team with a track record of discovery. We've got a strong cash and marketable securities balance, and more to come with other asset divestments. Really, it's about the Drummond Basin and expanding the drill program. Novo's funded, White Dam's generating cash. Cloncurry JV is funded, and the Mount Morgan project, we're still going slow, but we're still in the process of spinning that out. So that's really a bit of a summary, Kerry.
Peter, thank you so much. We are out of time. The presentation is on the website. You can download it there, and you'll see Peter in the Zoom networking where you can ask him lots of sort of questions from 4:30 this afternoon, Australian Eastern Daylight Savings Time. Peter, we'll see you later today. Thank you so much for that presentation.
Thanks, Kerry. Thanks for your time.